Why do we like disaster films so much? It seems a good plot device. It usually puts people in peril, through the direct fault of man or Mother Nature's wrath. They tend to show the best and worst of humanity. We either tend to screw each other over or band together in the face of adversity to survive. Welcome to DLP Movie, and let's check out top 10 greatest disaster movies of all time, must see for everyone. War of the Worlds. Steven Spielberg made, here, a movie that fits his regular summer blockbuster. This is not dinosaurs, giant sharks, benevolent aliens or bullets and blood. This is nasty aliens, anti-heroic Tom Cruise and paced rhythm with John Williams' notes lost. This is a report of the end of the world, seen across the eyes of a regular American family. In the film, an American dock worker is forced to look after his children, from whom he lives separately, and struggles to protect them and reunite them with their mother, when extraterrestrials invade the Earth and devastate cities with towering war machines. War of the Worlds deserves its place as both a highly regarded novel and a well-remembered movie. Byron Haskin and George Pal did a great job in visualizing the apocalyptic bits of Wells' text, while still making the end result enjoyable and interesting for the viewer. Titanic. Titanic, directed by James Cameron, presents a fictional love story on the historical setting of the Titanic. The plot is simple, non-complicated, or not for those who love plots that twist and turn and keep you in suspense. The end of the movie can be figured out within minutes of the start of the film, but the love story is an interesting one. However, Titanic plays almost like a historical biography and is like a work of art, a true epic. Like most history novels, we know the ending, but it doesn't take away from the wonderful treats that can be found in this picture. Certain aspects of this film are Academy Award material, including costuming, sound, cinematography, and editing. If you like interesting characters that will give you an insight into the life of characters in the early 1900s, and how they faced disaster, then this movie definitely is for you. Dantes Peak. This disaster film had some of the best special effects of its day, almost 10 years ago. This film is all about a volcano. A volcanologist arrives at a countryside town, recently named the second most desirable place to live in America, and discovers that the long-dormant volcano, Dantes Peak, may wake up at any moment. Some of the scenes were just jaw-dropping and, at least for the first-time viewer, a lot of suspense over whether the main characters of the story will survive it. It's impressed that the filmmakers were able to pack this much character development, backstory, romance, suspense, personal conflict, with an intense end sequence in under 1.5 hours. While this film is not deserving of an Oscar, it is a solid film, having been well conceived, well directed, fairly well acted. Anyone who wants to see a mostly scientifically accurate disaster movie, watch this. The Poseidon Adventure. For a film nearly 30 years old, Poseidon Adventure is still so effective that it would cause anyone planning to take a cruise to think twice. You probably know the plot. Luxury liner capsized by a tidal wave. This synopsis is brought to life with suspense, drama, and sometimes, terrifying reality. One of the most effective cinematic touches is that in nearly every scene, the camera is slowly swaying back and forth, to give us a sense that we really are at sea. Something Titanic completely missed. We follow the journey of 10 survivors through the inverted ship to their hopeful rescue, narrowly escaping fires, explosions, and flooding quarters every step of the way. The sets are epic and nothing less than spectacular. Especially the inverted dining room, when the Atlantic Ocean comes crashing in, and the engine room, which is now a horrifying twisted metal inferno. Poseidon Adventure is a true classic. A must-see for everyone, not just disaster movie fans. 2012. The story is your basic end-of-the-world chaos theory. This time around, the Earth's crusts are shifting, causing earthquakes and volcano eruptions on a global scale, followed by unfriendly tsunami waves. The governments of the world have some sort of a solution, in the shape of giant ships, located in China, and the movie follows the family's journey towards their destination, en route to China.
Their lives.
As expected, they manage to flee and escape most of the horrific events happening around them and stay intact. Meanwhile, we get to see most of the world's biggest iconic monuments get destroyed in vivid ways, including the White House, the Jefferson Memorial, the Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil, the Vatican in Rome, and many, many more. Now, if only the cliches were a bit less over the top and the premise less predictable, this could have been one hell of a masterpiece. But then again, even when 2012 doesn't necessarily bring anything new to the table, it's still one hell of a roller coaster ride, and an excellent winter blockbuster. Deep Impact. The film begins when a teenage amateur astronomer discovers a comet on a direct collision course for the Earth. The world is then thrown into turmoil, as humanity has to accept their possible extinction, while NASA sends a shuttle up with the intention to try to blow the comet to bits. The US government selects people to be saved in a cave they are building to withstand the event. Focusing on various unrelated characters, the film shows how people react differently to the destruction of all that they know. What stands out most about this movie is its human touch and sensitivity. It manages to probe an impressive array of human emotions in 2 hours' time, and it will leave you with plenty to think about, although it probably will not leave you with dry eyes. Twister. Twister, one of the most successful movies of the 90s, mainly due to its special effects, and a lot of people's want for a natural disaster movie that is fun to watch. This was an extremely popular movie. The movie is about tornadoes. TV weatherman Bill Harding is trying to get his tornado hunter wife, Jo, to sign divorce papers so he can marry his girlfriend Melissa. But Mother Nature, in the form of a series of intense storms sweeping across Oklahoma, has other plans. Soon the three have joined the team of storm chasers, as they attempt to insert a revolutionary measuring device into the very heart of several extremely violent tornadoes. It's not supposed to be a deep and thought-provoking film, it's just meant to be entertaining, and it most certainly does that. Armageddon. It's about love, bravery, and freedom. The story follows a group of oil drillers sent by NASA to stop an asteroid that will strike the world in 18 days. The drillers are taught and trained to become astronauts in a very comedic scene, and then sent to the asteroid to drop the nukes and blow it up. After that, a whole lot goes wrong. Abrams is fun and enjoyable with some real quirky dialogue and real funny bits. There are also some genuine moments of suspense and drama. The look of this film is obviously special effects, orientated with the New York asteroid shower opening sequence, and the destruction of Paris standing out. This may not be the most scientifically accurate movie ever made, but who cares? It was fun. It was exciting, action-packed from beginning to end, but more importantly you had empathy with the characters. You actually cared what happened to them.
That's your job.
The Day After Tomorrow. Jack Hall, paleoclimatologist, must make a daring trek across America to reach his son, trapped in the crosshairs of a sudden international storm, which plunges the planet into a new ice age. The Day After Tomorrow's human stories are better than most in other disaster movies. The father, Dennis Quaid, and son, Jake Gyllenhaal, line here is refreshingly uncontrived. Unlike many other exaggerated, twisted situation, what we have here is simple, straightforward and realistic. Just a father whose work takes him away from the family a little too often. Simple, nevertheless moving. As a rare treat, we have the low-key three-man British climatology team, facing disaster with stoicism but not without emotion. Playing the leader of the team is Ian Holm, showing the mastery of minimalizing. There were funny moments, mostly in the beginning of the movie. There were sad moments, when people died. There were lots of suspenseful moments, and there were moments that were close to terrifying. The special effects in the movie were done amazingly well, and the plot was rock solid. Independence Day. Anyone who has seen as many disaster movies, that this is absolutely the best one ever made. Taking the 1950s invasion narratives and pro-tooling them for 90s audiences, Independence Day is an absolute blast of visual flair and gung-ho heroism. The plot is so straightforward as to be superfluous. Aliens invade, fights ensue, but even so, it remains an invigorating watch purely because of the spectacle it provides. Back in 1996, the sight of the giant blue laser tearing apart Lower Manhattan made jaws drop, and while it's unlikely to do the same to today's overstimulated audiences, it's still an incredible visual feast. What's more, the ensemble cast makes it surprisingly unpredictable. We all know that the aliens will be defeated at the end, but what isn't so obvious is which characters are going to be alive to see it, except for the kid and the dog. They're relatively safe bets. What is your favorite movie from the list? Let us know below and don't forget to subscribe.